Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, in 10 days, Americans will see their paychecks shrink and some will see their unemployment benefits vanish. We'll look at what this means for San Diego.
County health officials are urging holiday shoppers to include safety helmets with their skateboards, bikes, and scooters this Christmas. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amita Sharma, in for Joanne Farian.
And I'm Dwayne Brown.
SWAT officers made a grisly discovery this afternoon in a Serra, Mesa home. The bodies of a man and a woman were found inside the home. A police spokeswoman says an 18-month-old boy was discovered unharmed. A standoff began after a serviceman called the police from the house to report that he'd shot his wife, who was also in the Navy. When police entered the home, both the man and his wife were found dead.
Despite the sluggish economy, tourism picked up in San Diego and apparently across California this year. KPBS reporter Jill Repp-Logel joins us from the news center. So, Jill, give us some of the highlights, and where did the latest report come from?
Well, the numbers for San Diego come from the San Diego Convention and Visitors Bureau, and they show that tourism here, in terms of the number of visitors, is up by about 3%, and that's the first time that we've seen an increase since 2008. Now, in California, the number of visits are up about 4%, so a little bit more.
And the first increase in about 3 years. So what kind of reaction have we heard from San Diego's tourism industry about these numbers?
Well, people seem to be pretty happy. SeaWorld had an excellent year. They said they saw double-digit growth in the number of visitors. And the San Diego Convention and Tourism Bureau, again, is pretty happy with those results as well. People spent more this year, which is also important, by about 5% since last year.
But the news isn't all good, is it?
No, the Visitors Bureau actually had to revise down its expectations for tourism next year because the economy is still sort of iffy and consumer confidence isn't quite back up to normal.
KPBS reporter Jill Repp-Logel.
Millions of people on Medicare will be affected by the failure of a bill that would have extended jobless benefits and the payroll tax. Doctors will see a deep cut in Medicare payments unless lawmakers quickly come up with a fix. Without it, doctors who treat Medicare patients will see their pay cut by 27% next month. Encinitas' Dr. Jim Hay is president of the California Medical Association. He says the cut would be a disaster for seniors. He says if the pay cut isn't reversed, many physicians won't see new Medicare patients, and some may stop treating them altogether.
The deadly MRSA superbug may soon be a thing of the past. San Diego biotech company Trius Therapeutics reports success in phase 3 trials of its antibiotic in patients with bacterial skin infections. That brings the drug one step closer to approval by the Federal Drug Administration and the European Medicines Agency. Well, more than 200 people were injured riding bikes, scooters, and skateboards in San Diego County this year. Most of them were kids younger than 15. That's why hospital and county health officials are urging holiday shoppers to add safety helmets to their list this year.
Health experts say riding a skateboard, scooter, or bike is a great way for kids to get exercise, but it could turn into a nightmare if they end up in the emergency room. Sue Cox with Rady Children's Hospital says they see more than 300 kids a year suffer needlessly.
We see primarily orthopedic injuries, but the most tragic and most frustrating for all of us are those injuries involving head injuries. We can fix broken bones, they heal. A really bad brain injury cannot be fixed.
Robert Herber is a professional bike racer. He says the worst place you can not have a helmet is on your head.
I will not go on a ride unless I have a helmet. The helmets need to be fitted properly. They need to be square on your forehead, not too far back, because you don't want to fall, hit your head on the front and the helmet not protect you.
Properly fitted helmets reduce the risk of head injuries by 75 to 85%, but as you can see here at the skate park, not many of these riders are wearing one.
It's certainly an issue some skateboarders like this one are totally against.
Hell no, I'm a grown man, I can do it, you know.
He's right. State law only requires those under 18 wear a helmet while riding, but Public Health Officer Wilma Wooten says adults are just as vulnerable to accidents as kids.
The most recent data shows that there have been 222 injuries associated with individuals using bikes, scooters, and skateboards. And what we also know is that of those injuries, a very small percentage of those individuals were using protective equipment, less than 25%.
Health officials hope by raising the issue during the holiday shopping season, more folks will consider adding a safety helmet to go along with the skates or bicycle under the tree this year. NASA scientists have confirmed the discovery of two Earth-sized planets. They're orbiting a star about 1,000 light years from Earth in the constellation Lyra. The planets are called Kepler 20e and Kepler 20f. Astronomers say the temperature on the planets range from 800 to 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Planets are too hot for water to exist on its surface, but scientists say it's only a matter of time before they discover planets more hospitable for human life. More than 145,000 San Diego County workers were unemployed in November. Amitha and her guests are at the Evening Edition Roundtable to talk about how Congress's failure to pass a payroll tax cut extension will affect San Diegans.
San Diego County's job market is far from healthy. Unemployment hovers at 9.2%, and more than one-third of county residents are struggling with economic hardship. It's against this backdrop that House Republicans this week rejected an extension of unemployment benefits and a payroll tax cut of $1,000 a year for 160 million Americans. San Diego's congressional representatives voted along party lines. Joining me to talk about the vote is Murtaza Musa of the Middle Class Taxpayers Association of San Diego and Kelly Cunningham, an economist from National University. Murtaza, you consider yourself a voice for the middle class. How does the House Republicans' refusal to extend the payroll tax cut affect the middle class in San Diego County?
In a significant way, it impacts their pocketbooks. There are two key pieces of this: unemployment and a payroll tax extension. The unemployment insurance, there are 145,000 unemployed in San Diego. Now think about it, 3 out of 4 of those that are unemployed, there are no jobs whatsoever. So this is not their fault. And then there are those that are working, and they are seeing a payroll tax cut in their paycheck every single week. It's $20 a week. That translates into about $1,000 at an average to the course of the year. So this extension of this tax cut will directly impact their pocketbooks.
You've written extensively about child poverty. In fact, I believe in San Diego Unified alone this year, there were 1,000 more children living in poverty. What does the House decision to not extend unemployment benefits do to children?
It is devastating. 1 in 5 children in San Diego Unified are living in poverty today. This is over the national rate. This is unprecedented to a great extent. What happens is when there isn't enough income coming into the family, the children suffer. There's greater poverty. So it is quite a problem for children in poverty to have their parents on insurance being taken away, or to see a payroll tax hike.
Kelly, if no compromise is reached, and it doesn't look like one is at hand between the Senate and the House, Senate has gone home for vacation, the House is packing its bags. What does that do to San Diego's economy, given the fact that the thousands of seasonal workers who were hired to handle holiday retail sales will be let go next month? And that coincides with the end of the payroll tax cut and the end of unemployment benefits for many. Does this push us into a recession?
Well, we have been. I mean, normally this will happen. This is temporary holiday hiring, and then unemployment will go up in January as those temporary workers are let go. I mean, not that they're let go, but they're hired temporarily. So that normally happens anyway. But so this compounded that will mean that unemployment will probably be worse, and we'll see unemployment approach 10% again. But the job. We are seeing slow job growth. Some job growth, not enough to really. We're only about halfway to where we were before the recession hit, and we lost over 100,000 jobs and in the recession, and then since that time we're almost about halfway. So that'll slow, I think, job prospects and growth and cause more hardship as is being discussed here.
How soon might we see the effects?
Well, certainly as of January that it'll go into effect, because that's when the payroll tax cuts will go away, and as we're describing, we'll see a bigger chunk of our take-home pay being will be taken out of our take-home pay.
No, I mean, how soon might we see the effects on the local economy? In January, February? How soon?
It would, we're expecting a fairly slow year in 2012. It'll be the fastest growth that we've seen in 6 years, but it's still very tepid at best, and so it could even slow that from this lower rate of growth that we're anticipating.
I want to throw this question out to both of you, but let's start with you, Murtaza. We're coming off a year of intense political gridlock in Washington. But what's been different about 2011 were these protests, the Occupy Wall Street protests, and the perception that government is no longer working for the average American. What does this vote this week do to that perception?
Well, I think it compounds it. Whenever there is a tax cut for millionaires, billionaires, or corporations, there is always money to be found. But when it is for the majority of working people, there isn't. It's essentially about austerity and cuts, and cuts in programs such as community college, education, social services. So cuts in many ways, and so that's the big disparity between the 1% and the rest.
And Kelly, what do you think this does to that perception?
Well, I think the problem with this is that it shows how out of touch Congress is with the public sector and the citizens in general. That there is no reason that they shouldn't have come to an agreement to extend the tax cut through all of the year, and to come up with a 2-month in the meantime as a gimmick that really causes more problem than it solves, because now it confuses employers who don't know how to apply the taxes, and it really hurts, I think, the small businesses. The big companies hire tax attorneys and CPAs that can kind of deal with this better than the small guys that are not able to deal with this. Suddenly, do we start taking more out or less in the 2 months, and then what happens after that? It's very difficult to plan. So, and I think Congress they wanted to get home for Christmas, and they didn't, solve this problem. They just kicked it down the road for 2 months, and causing more problems for consumers now during the holiday season, a very important time, and then going forward as well.
We're going to have to wrap it right there. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us today.
Thank you, Rita.
We'll revisit a story about the struggles of some homeless San Diegans, where a program in North County is trying to get families off the street and into permanent homes. And Mexico's drug war continues to dominate headlines along the border. We'll look back at some of the top stories from the region. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
Tonight on KPBS, as snow falls and Christmas lights glow, a holiday season of a different sort settles in just beyond Jackson Hole. Christmas in Yellowstone on Nature at 8. Then at 9, on the anniversary of Darwin's famous On the Origin of Species, Nova reveals answers to the riddles that Darwin couldn't explain. And at 11, meet the only person in history to win 2 unshared Nobel Prizes. That's tonight on KPBS.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next news hour, how Morocco's Muslim society tackles the treatment and prevention of HIV/AIDS. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
The American people have named PBS
the most trusted source of news
and public affairs
for the 8th year in a row.
Trust.
The American people have spoken.
Thank you.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Irwin Jacobs and by
Welcome back to KPBS Evening Edition. As the year comes to a close, we're revisiting some of our top stories. A program in North County is trying to get homeless families off the street and into permanent housing. KPBS reporter Allison St. John says it might not work for everybody, but it's a good model for families with children.
Monique Blackman and her 3 children, aged 11, 12 and 15, live in a single room with 4 bunks at the intake center of Solutions for Change in Vista. They're one of 24 families in this shelter.
I had to come in, do an interview. I thought that was the strangest thing. For a shelter, you have to do an interview, and there was a waiting list for a shelter. I thought, is this popular? What is going on here?
What's going on is an ambitious plan to get families out of homelessness in 1,000 days. First, they spend a few weeks or months in this shelter, then move into transitional housing in a campus-like setting where they take classes and look for work. And finally, they move into affordable housing for the last 500 days of the program.
More than 9,000 people are homeless in San Diego County. That's according to the latest count from the Regional Task Force on the Homeless. That's 20% more than 3 years ago. Here at the North County Solutions for Change, 32 families live in these units on the Solutions University campus.
Christian Colas and Robert Magracia have been living here on campus for several months in a small 2-room apartment with a shared kitchen. They ended up homeless with their 3 children after Magracia was fired from his job because he was involved in drugs and gangs. He followed Colas to Solutions for Change rather than lose his family.
So when I came here, at first I didn't like it, but then I got used to it after taking a couple of classes, getting to know myself better, and I started changing from there.
The classes start when residents first arrive in the shelter.
And it's like past, present, and future to show where we've been, what brought us here, where we are now, and where we want to go in our future.
With the milk mustache.
The residents learn skills like goal setting, job search, and anger management. Everyone meets regularly with case managers, and many of the residents also have to attend AA to break addictive habits. What motivates many of the residents to stay in this highly structured lifestyle is a desire to give their children a better life.
What's wrong, Mama?
The kids here are a central focus. Seeing families with children on the streets was what motivated Chris Megason to found Solutions for Change more than a decade ago. And he wanted to get families off public aid.
And a lot of them were on CalWorks. They were getting food stamps. They were really dependent on these kind of programs. Well, they're off that now. And we've been able to demonstrate a $28 million in cost savings as a result of taking 600 families off of all these programs.
Megason says a third of his funding still comes from local, state, and federal government, a third from private donations, and a third from what the families themselves earn and contribute.
In order for a single mom who is making maybe $12 an hour here, she cannot really pay for very long $1,200, $1,300, $1,500 a month. Now she's working full time, she's getting up, suiting up, and showing up, and doing everything she needs to do. So what we've figured out was we have to go after this affordable housing.
Part of what makes this program different is that Solutions is buying affordable housing and moving families in while they're still part of the program. Solutions for Change is not part of North County's network of homeless shelters, but other local leaders say the program is a model that works for families who need a lot of structure.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to build this longer-term continuum of care for the clients that enter through their shelter network all the way through permanent housing, and so good strategy.
For Monique Blackman, the journey out of homelessness is just beginning, but she's full of hope.
I have found such peace here. I would not have told anyone that you're going to find peace in a shelter.
That was Allison St. John reporting. Solutions for Change wants to raise $20 million in 3 years to end homelessness for 200 families in North County. Tables were stacked high with games, bikes, clothes, and other things kids love to see at Christmas time. But the families selecting gifts today had no money for presents this year. That's where the angel tree comes in at the Kroc Salvation Army Center in Rolando. Katie Cardinal lost her job recently.
It's hard when you have little kids. You want them to have gifts to open on Christmas, so this is pretty amazing.
The Salvation Army says gifts will be given to 44,000 children this holiday season in the county, but they say gifts are running low and there's still time to help donate. Mexico's drug war continues to dominate headlines along the border. Amitha and her guests are talking about some of the top stories out of Mexico this year at the Evening Edition Roundtable.
The KPBS Fronteras desk has just completed its first full year, and what a year it was for news along the U.S.-Mexico border and across the Southwest. As we look back, we will focus on some of the major stories from the region. Joining us are Fronteras desk reporter Jill Replogle and Jose Luis Jimenez, the social media and web editor. Jose, let's start with you. The drug war continued to dominate headlines this year. I believe the Fronteras desk did a 2-week series called The Drug War at Home. What was the project all about?
Like you said, it was a 2-week series focusing on the impact of the drug war in Mexico here in the U.S. Some of the stories that we covered were, for example, foreclosed homes in Phoenix being used by drug cartels as stash houses for their drugs and also for human smuggling. We also looked at how cash from the sale of drugs here in the U.S. gets laundered and then sent back down to Mexico, and also some of the new techniques that smugglers are using to evade the increased border security, like using ultralight planes, which are very small and can fly very low, to kind of literally jump over the border, drop off the drugs, and get back over to Mexico.
So this is fascinating. We've heard for years now, well, yes, that drug war is in Mexico. There's not much spillover effect into San Diego. How good of a grasp do law enforcement have of this spillover effect?
Well, they have a very good grasp of it. What you have here is not the direct violence like you have in Mexico of cartels fighting each other. Basically, the cartels use local gangs here as kind of their middlemen to distribute the drugs and to get them transported within the U.S. So that's where you see the effects of the drug cartel war here in the U.S. in terms of the criminal aspect of it.
But we don't see actual violence.
Not like you see in Mexico, not the spectacular violence you see of shootouts in the streets or, mass bodies being found. But yes, you do have violence as some of these gangs compete with themselves for these lucrative distribution routes.
Now, Jill, you've also done some stories on people profiting in Southern California from the gory glamour of the drug culture. Talk about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the culture spills over, for sure. A lot of Mexican Americans in this country have ties. You know, some of them, there's a huge population from Sinaloa in Los Angeles. And there's a sort of underground musical movement called Movimiento Alterado, and it's a type of corrido music, which are sort of Mexican ballads traditionally about, love and hard times and life. And as the drug war has gotten increasingly brutal, so has the music. And so now the music is about chopping off heads and, really sort of graphic descriptions of battles with videos splattered with blood and sort of very, very gruesome. And they're being produced in this country. It's, not just Mexican Americans, but there are some Mexican American producers who have sort of developed this new sort of trend of music that's really popular.
So obviously, it's profitable. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. And as you said, it's popular. What are people saying about why they want to listen to music that has these types of lyrics?
Well, I think it's because there isn't that much spillover in this country, it's like watching a movie. The crazy stuff that happens in Mexico, it's hard for, young people especially. It's so sort of impactful that it, but it's not real to them because it's not necessarily their families. They live here. They're not impacted by that. But, it's just sort of like how gangster rap got so popular back in the 80s. It's exciting to some people.
Jose, and both of you can speak to this, but where do you see, what's the next chapter in the drug war?
Well, President Calderon cannot run for re-election in 2012, so Mexico is going to elect a new president. And I think that's going to be very telling. Is the new president going to continue the policies of Calderon, or is he going to try a different route? Some experts believe that if the PRI gets back into power, then perhaps they will make some sort of truce with the cartels that they can keep their operations going as long as they cut down on the violence that has killed an estimated 40,000 people in Mexico. And very quickly, there's been quite a bit of discontent on the part of the public because of the violence against Calderon's policies. Yes, lately you're starting to see some pretty big protests directly focused on Calderon, complaining about the policy, that essentially innocent people are being killed and they see no progress. The cartels are still in power, corruption is still rampant in Mexico, and the violence continues to dominate the headlines down there. Jose? Jill, thank you so much for talking to us. We look forward to stories coming up in the new year. Thank you. Thanks.
The Public Square is up next. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
Tuesday at 10 on KPBS.
I love KPBS because when I wake up in the morning and that radio station goes on, 89.5 goes on, I know that I am going to get information that I can trust, that I can respect, that I can value, and I know I'm getting the truth.
Monty Python's Michael Palin journeys across the lands in the Himalaya range to explore fascinating places. It's a 2,000-mile adventure filled with discovery and humor.
I don't think I need any fillings, do I?
Himalaya with Michael Palin.
Join the adventure January 2nd at 10 on KPBS.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Some economists are suggesting that yesterday's vote by House Republicans to reject a tax break and extend benefits for millions of Americans could increase the chance of a recession next year. This at a time when the San Diego economy is just beginning to show signs of recovery. We asked you what you thought about the House vote and what it means about the ability of our government to do its job. Many of you sounded fed up. On Facebook, David said, "This is typical. It's always politics as distraction from the real problem, the thorough corruption and destruction of democracy in our republic, because money is treated as protected First Amendment speech." And another viewer, Troy, said, "The Republicans reject any consideration of raising taxes on the wealthiest Americans yet. Will throw the rest of us under the bus without a thought." Senators have already left Washington, and the House of Representatives are exiting as well, which means a compromise is unlikely to happen. That means starting January 1st, Americans will see their paychecks shrink and 3 million unemployed people will see their benefits disappear. You can weigh in on the conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and of course, you can email us. And now Dwayne has a recap of tonight's top stories.
Local economists say San Diego's middle class and poor people will be hit hardest by the stalemate in Congress after House Republicans this week decided to let payroll tax cuts and unemployment benefits expire. And despite the sluggish economy, tourism actually picked up in San Diego and across California this year. Tourism was up more than 3% in San Diego for the first time since 2008. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.